Welcome back to the Sales Pulse podcast, where selling isn't a performance. It's a fluent human connection. It's a conversation. I'm Marla Copal, your sales conversation architect, here to help you sell without pressure, without pitching, and without pushback from the buyer. It's December, and we just survived Black Friday, Cyber Monday, tech this, tech that, and the entire season of buy this or risk eternal regret is upon us. Soon we will have the New Year FOMO parade. So here's the part that nobody says out loud. FOMO, fear of missing out, is great for marketing, but it sucks for selling. It makes for terrible selling conversations. It is the pressure that those of you in sales sometimes worry about presenting to your buyer. Stop it. December leads up to January in the social media world, and it seems to be that magical moment when everybody comes up with a new solution, a new course, a new idea for helping you market better and make more sales. But still, it's not all that you need. So you're buying programs, you're hoping to sell your programs, and you're looking at how to optimize yourself, hydrate yourself, get into a better morning routine. And everybody is running a masterclass on telling you what's wrong with you and what the problems are that you have. But what's the problem? They never have a conversation with you. Marketing is designed to stir your imagination and get you on the ball of thinking about all the things you could be doing and you should be doing and the things that you need to help you do those. It's designed to make you feel like, oh, I didn't know that, but now that I know that, I need it. Well, it makes you hope, which is nice, but doesn't really influence action. Does it influence you to swipe your credit card? Or do you buy out of desperation and not wanting to be left out? Most people don't buy out of need. They buy out of a moment. If you sell to the moment instead of the human, you will lose the human and most likely set up all those things that happen after a buyer buys and has regrets. That's exactly why sellers get into trouble. They don't know where to make the break between selling and marketing. If you take on the same marketing strategies in your sales conversations, then you are guaranteed to unintentionally cause buyers to back away and to run away. All those logical reasons that you have for the buyer buying are not their logical reasons. Stop solving, because if you start to solve a problem that they never shared, you're talking to someone that cannot receive what it is you're sharing. Let's get this really clear again. Sales is not marketing. It is a continuation of that process called marketing in which you got a buyer's attention. Now you have to pay attention to the buyer. If you try to sell like a marketer, you're going to sound like a hype machine. Sales isn't about repeating the benefits of your products. It's about understanding what's on the buyer's mind and their heart. And you're never going to know that if you come up with all the answers first. Hype will not help them turn into an action-producing buyer. The seller has to have clarity about what's on their mind and how that might fit with what you have. It's nothing you can tell them, but it is something you can open them up about. You can hear all their questions. You can hear their thoughts. You can encourage engagement. Don't amplify the desire when you're in your sales conversation. Clarify what's going on with the buyer's desire, needs, intentions, what made them take action today to even have a conversation with you. It is not your job in sales to say, oh, here's a shiny object. Oh, but if you don't like that one, I have this shiny object. That's marketing, but it is not sales. If you're a coach, a sales coach, a marketing coach, if you are an educator, if you are selling courses, setting up your school, whatever it is, What you're looking for is what it is that buyer is going to know that they maybe haven't expressed that will help them transform into a decision maker. So slow down. Quit talking about what matters to you as a seller and look at what matters to the buyer. Stop trying to build the buyer's imagination because they came to you for a reason. They saw something. Now they need the conversation. They need the nitty gritty. They need the relationship. They need the how will this work for me conversation. Stop trying to stir the emotion in your sales conversation. That's for marketing. Now you're into saying, will this fit? If you're a seller and you think you're intuitive and you're going to problem spot what brought the buyer to you, then I'm going to tell you, you'll most likely offend a high percentage of your buyers. You know who I'm talking about. Those salespeople that says, you know what else I can help you with? Like they read your mind. Did they really? Or they say, have you thought about this? Like you're not a thinker. And you might also have someone come up to you and say, I'll bet you also struggle with this. All of those are off-putting sales approaches. That's telling someone what they should be feeling. It's very assumptive. So the buyer will start thinking, actually, I didn't have that problem, but now I'm overwhelmed and I'm not too sure I want to learn any more about this. You have to be wary of what you think your strategies are before you get rejected. People aren't rejecting the service or the product, but they will reject when it does not fit them. So don't skip the conversation. That's going to help you understand the fit. Let's flip this around. Let's make selling the antidote to FOMO instead of the fuel for it. Here's the shift. Sales isn't about expanding the buyer's imagination. It's about opening their awareness. What have they thought of? What have they not thought of? What are they thinking they might like to do that they haven't shared with anyone yet? They need to be aware of what matters to them now. Awareness of what attracted them to the conversation in the first place is always good to bring back into the sales conversation because, believe it or not, their ideas may have not been well formulated and they were just there to learn from you. Understand from them by asking great open-ended questions what they're willing to invest emotionally, not just financially, in making this work. When people are investing in AI nowadays, there has to be a large time commitment, and that's emotional. So where are people just beyond buying? Where are they in time commitment to produce? Where are they in their decision-making rhythm? This is the part that most sellers miss. People are just starting to think, so they feel safe to have a conversation to explore. Well, if you're having an exploratory conversation, it may not be a closing conversation. Quit putting those expectations into the middle of the conversation and blowing the conversation up. When you're listening to the buyer, something beautiful happens. They'll start talking to you about the truth of what they're looking for instead of the marketing version that said you need this. They're going to be more grounded when you're listening to them, and just let them work it through. You stop performing and they stop performing so that they know you're getting into a genuine moment of decision making. Stop trying to impress that buyer and let them just be who they are. And that's where your sales fluency will take over. Let me give you 3 simple fluency skills that you can immediately use to make this December a more successful selling month. It's a high FOMO season, but don't get engaged in FOMO. So always ask one grounding question before you offer any solutions. Sometimes you might just say, before I go anywhere, what feels most important for you right now? Well, now you have a focus for your conversation. You don't just have to go willy-nilly all over the board telling them everything you know about your product or your service. That question stops the FOMO right away. Match their decision-making pace. Don't impose yours. If they're slower and reflective and more methodical, then they're not hesitating. They're thinking. They're processing before they speak. So respect that and slow down. If they're fast and decisive, don't drown them in information they didn't ask for. Respect their need for fast timing. Pace will tell you more about the buyer than any script will ever train you for. And clarify what they mean instead of assuming what they need. Most sales are lost with assumptions. Just clarify what they mean instead of jumping to conclusions and assumptions. Always just repeat to people what they said. What I heard you say was summarize what they said and pause. Get them to acknowledge. Then you're on your way to those nice closing yeses. Let them correct or confirm whatever it is that you misunderstood or understood well. This is how you keep a sales conversation going, and you keep it out of the realm called convincing. So my message for today is the marketing world is about to scream at your buyers. Upgrade this, upgrade your life, reinvent yourself, new year, new you, right? Well, let them scream. That's the marketing job. Your job is not to echo the noise, but to help the buyer hear themselves again, to understand one human at a time and help them make a decision that fits for them. That decision may not work with your offer, but that decision honors their life. Buyers don't run from sellers because of price. They run because they feel unseen and unheard. Fluent sales conversations create the understanding and respect that stops the runaways. Let's head into the new year by building that one skill that makes every sale easier. Learn to listen for what matters before you talk about what you sell. You'll close more sales, and more importantly, you become the kind of seller that buyers trust instantly because you're not just trying to manufacture problems they don't have. You're helping them make a decision. Great sellers help people make decisions about what the buyer feels isn't working, could be working, and they're going to feel good about when they walk away from you. That's why FOMO sellers struggle and fluent sellers don't. And that's the heart of sales fluency. That's it for today's Sales Pulse podcast. Join me here every Tuesday. And also, I want you to take a look at my new school account where you can get more tips on selling on a daily basis.